Christmas morning. Dad stood up so fast his chair skidded backward and snapped, "Get out." Mom didn't even look at me when she hissed, "Stop envying your sister." I smiled. Calm, quiet, surgical. "Then pay your own bills," I said, and walked out while the tree lights blinked like a failing pulse. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't defend myself. I'd learned long ago that volume is for people without leverage. I used to believe families were contracts written in blood. You give, you show up, you're safe. I was wrong. Families are corporations, and I'd been their silent investor. Years earlier, when my parents started needing help, I stepped in. At first it was small utilities in my name, insurance premiums when Dad's hours got cut. Then bigger things, property taxes, credit cards, a loan consolidation to keep their house from slipping into foreclosure. They never asked my sister. She was busy. She was special. She was the future. I was the infrastructure, invisible until something breaks. I remember the first Christmas it felt off. Mom handed my sister a car key wrapped in velvet. Dad hugged her too long. I got a sweater 2 sizes too big and a comment about being too sensitive. That's when the pattern started whispering. Bills addressed to me but mailed to their house. Late notices I'd already paid. Credit lines I didn't open but guaranteed. I didn't confront them. I watched, cataloged. I waited. Betrayal isn't loud when it's family. It's administrative. The undeniable moment came in October. I was reconciling statements when I saw a balance transfer, 5 figures, moved from a card I co-signed to an account I'd never seen. The memo line read, "For your sister's new place." I stared at it for a long time. No shaking, no tears, just clarity. That night I slept better than I had in years, because confusion was gone. And once confusion leaves, strategy arrives. I didn't accuse. I didn't threaten. I smiled at Sunday dinners. I paid one last cycle of bills. Then I started documenting. I pulled my credit reports. I downloaded statements. I requested copies of agreements. I highlighted signatures, dates, IP addresses. I noticed patterns they assumed no one would ever look for. Mom liked to talk. She texted too much. Dad trusted paper more than passwords. They both underestimated silence. I met with a lawyer on my lunch break. Not to sue. Not yet. Just to understand the terrain. I learned which debts were joint, which were fraud, which were crimes pretending to be favors. Then I stopped paying. No announcement. No drama. Just absence. The house didn't collapse immediately. It never does. It groans first. By December, the calls started. Missed payments. Utility warnings. I let them ring. Christmas morning was their last play. Shame dressed as tradition. When Dad told me to get out, he thought he was reclaiming authority. When Mom accused me of envy, she thought she was rewriting history. They didn't know the accounts were already frozen. They didn't know the affidavits were already filed. They didn't know I'd already left. The next morning, Dad reported me to the police. He said I'd stolen from them, that I'd abandoned my obligations, that I was unstable. I answered the door in a sweater that fit. Calm. Prepared. The officer was polite, professional. He asked questions. I handed him a folder. Not thick, precise. He flipped through it slowly. Credit reports, contracts, screenshots. His eyebrows didn't move much, but his breathing changed. Then he turned to my parents and said 4 words that cracked the room open. "You need a lawyer." Mom's face drained first. Dad tried to speak and couldn't land a sentence. For the first time in my life, I watched them realize they weren't in control of the story. The officer explained things gently. Fraud, identity misuse, false reporting. I didn't add a word. I didn't have to. Silence is heavier when it's earned. The aftermath wasn't cinematic. It was procedural. Counts reversed. Liens placed. Charges discussed. My sister stopped calling. Then blocked me. Then unblocked me to ask if I could just make it go away. I declined. I moved my things out of storage. I closed the last shared account. I changed my number. The house didn't get saved. Neither did their version of the family. Months later, Dad left a voicemail. No apology, just confusion. How could you do this to us? I deleted it without listening twice. Because the truth was simple. I didn't do anything to them. I stopped doing everything for them. Now, when I think about that Christmas morning, I don't feel anger. I feel precision. I remember my smile, not because I was happy, but because I was finished pretending. Justice doesn't always look like revenge. Sometimes it looks like balance restored. Sometimes it looks like 4 quiet words spoken by someone with a badge. And sometimes it looks like walking away clean, while the people who taught you betrayal finally have to live with it.